Welcome back to Copperhead Customs. What are we going to work on today? Well, you will better stick around if you want to find out. This here is our 1954 Pontiac Star Chief. And yes, we've got a few jobs to do on this one today. Well, this is our 1951 Bedford. And we've got a couple of things to do on this one today. This here is our 1965 Pontiac Parisienne. We've got some work to do on this today. This is our 38 Chevy, and we are not working on this one today. So as you may have gathered, we've got some jobs to do on 3 different cars. Basically, some random maintenance jobs. So this beauty here, this is our 1965 Pontiac Parisienne. Right-hand drive, Australian assembled Pontiac. We bought this and put a 283 Chevy motor in it. New transmission and everything in all the running gear. It's not long finished. But what have we got to do on this? Well, we've got a little tiny water leak out of our thermostat housing neck. So we need to address that. We also, I believe, have a trans leak off of our trans cooler line. So we want to address that. We need to give it a clean because it's absolutely disgusting. So we need to address that. Then fingers crossed, we fix it. And then we get to go for a drive. Hopefully we fix it all. But hey, we've also got no windscreen wipers. So we might want to look at that as well. This is our 1951 Bedford, another cab built in Australia by Holden. You guys in America don't have these and may not have seen them, but they are a pretty badass looking little cab. This was the first build we did on the channel, but recently we just ironed out the last finishing touches. We did all the wiring, but we still had no indicators. Well, they turned on, they just didn't flash. So we've gone and bought an LED flasher. Because we're running LED indicators, we probably need an LED flasher. So we went and purchased one of them. We need to install it. It's also still running a little bit rough and breaking down. So we're going to put a new set of points in and maybe give the carby another tweak. Fingers crossed that will fix it. We're also going to check the thermostat because I've got a feeling maybe it's stuck. And then, once again, you guessed it, we'll take it for a test drive. And then we come to this beauty. This is our 1954 Pontiac Star Chief, fully imported from the USA. This thing is absolutely gorgeous and it's still running its original straight A. We seem to have a problem at the moment with a bad earth. So we're going to put a new cable from the battery to the motor. We also need to put a new battery in it. So we'll address that. And then, because this one hasn't moved for about 6 months, you guessed it, we got to give it a nice clean. And then we get to take this one on a test drive. So if some of that, or all of it, sounds like it might be interesting, then you need to stick around and enjoy the show. Alrighty, our first job, as you can see down in here, we have some coolant sitting here, and around the side of this aeroflow thermostat housing we have a bit of coolant seeping. Well, first we'll just give these a little nip up and see if there's any slack in there, but I doubt it. No, nothing in that. Okay, so quick easy fix on this. We've still got this little seep coming out of our thermostat housing, so what we've done is we put a stop leak through it. I've never put one in the motor. I normally put one in on a fresh rebuilt motor. So we'll put that through, see how it goes, because that is brand new housing, brand new gasket, everything. So it's just a little seepage, so we'll put a stop leak through in the radiator. Now the transmission, I cannot find the leak, but there is a leak down there. The trans cooler lines were okay, but they were touching the exhaust, which is what our smoke issue is. So we've bent them out of the way. We cannot see the leak, but there is wet down there, so mopped all that up. I've just thrown the Lucas stop leak, stop slip, that stuff. It is absolutely insane. Thrown one of them in the transmission and top the level up, so hopefully that will stop that leak. This will stop that leak, and other than that, we are pretty good. We had a little test on the wires over for the windscreen wipers, and we've got no power going to them. That's going to take further investigation, work that out. So we'll have to go in, diving in, but I'm not doing it today. We'll have to dive in at the switches and see what the deal is there. We are pretty much now ready to take this one for a test drive and bed all this stop leak into the system.
the next day.
Well, that was car 1 done. Now let's get on to car 2. First job, let's remove the bonnet. Now we'll remove this cover so we can get to the fuse box. So this is what we bought, and that's the other flasher. This is our 12 volt LED flasher. So let's swap it out. Pretty simple. Now is it gonna work? Hey? Oh yes. Oh yeah. But for some reason the hazards don't flash. Let's check out the back. So our first job's been a success. Let's change out the thermostat. So that is a good sign that it had one, because it means it could be stuck. So something we're going to do here is we're going to just drill a little hole in the side to make it a high flow thermostat. So you can actually buy them, but they're over here in Australia, they are twice the price. So we'll just drill our own little hole in the side here, and it will just help with the flow. It will generally drop the car around 5 degrees. So let's get to it. And just like that, we are done. Let's go install it and the new gasket. There is the thermostat and gasket done. Now, let's throw some new points in it. Fingers crossed, but I don't think it's gonna fix it. We've done the points. Seems to be running pretty crisp. We won't know till we take it for a drive. Still think the carby needs more tweaking, but let's see if we've improved it. So what that means is, let's take it for a drive. Now we're on to this one. We threw a new battery in and got it down here. We've got to mount that properly somehow. We also want to change that negative battery terminal. We bought ourselves a new fuel filter, so we'll swap that out, and then we need to try and fix up that carburetor, and then we'll give it a wash. Well, I think we might maybe have fixed it. We changed the gap on the point and we changed the air fuel ratio, and fingers crossed we may have it running pretty good at the moment. It is still doing one thing that I can't work out, and that is when it's in drive it idles fine, but when you put it into low gear the idle drops 300-400 RPM and it wants to nearly stall out. So I actually have it idling a little bit too high at the moment, so to counteract it, fingers crossed we've got it working. What's next? Let's give it a quick wash, top up the radiator, and then we test drive. call that some sort of success. We fixed the radiator leak and we fixed the transmission leak. And then we went for a test drive. We fixed the blinkers.
Some people say indicators.
Changed the point, put a new thermostat in, and we test drove this one. And it was nearly successful. We put a new battery in here and a new negative cable. We adjusted the points and tuned the carby. We gave them all a wash, this one is running great. So I would call that somewhat of a success. 2 Pontiacs are near on perfect, and this old girl is one step closer to being there. So this is just showing you some of the joys of owning multiple classic cars. They can be quite painful, and to keep them all tuned up is a mission. So with all that said, we'll say thanks for watching, and we will see you next week. Hey Copperhead. Hey Baz, what are you doing?
Well, the mechanic said my indicators aren't working and I need to top up the fluid. So I was seeing if you had any indicator fluid oils.
You got no idea.
Oh, come on.